First things first, Markiplier, love him or hate him, actually made a very cool video playing some of our Game Jam games, which is really awesome for you guys and myself because we got to get a whole bunch of downloads for the 3 that he actually played, which is really awesome, guys. And I hope you guys' statistics look as good as mine, because mine look like this. And this. Actually, no, that's the same one. What does all this mean? Well, Game Jams are actually really great for you guys. If you guys don't have enough audience or enough publicity, then entering these Game Jams gives you a little bit of audience, and if you really put hard work into it, you may come up the top ranks and actually get on a showcase on my channel, which is nothing compared to people like Markiplier with 20 million subscribers or something like that. So, but getting into it sometimes actually leads to doing that sort of stuff, which is really cool. So now that you guys probably see the potential of the Game Jam, you guys might be a bit more encouraged to actually enter more often. And of course, if one game does really well in a Game Jam, then often that game will bring in an audience from elsewhere to actually look at all the other games from the Game Jam. So that's another way that we can kind of help each other out and do that sort of stuff. The one thing I noticed is that nobody was actually updating the game or pushing it forward or polishing it up a little bit, including myself. I'm partly to blame there. But it's actually really important if you guys are getting these bursts of downloads, because it makes an impression on people, and the only reason I'm not doing it is because I'm not really proud of the game, to be perfectly honest. It's not something I want to pursue or put any more time towards. It was just fun for the Game Jam, and I thought that Game Jam was actually really fun. So yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed it. Oh, and by the way, next Game Jam starts now. So open up your game development program of choice, get your pens out, start jolting out ideas, because we're going to need to form some teams over here. So you have an entire 7 days to actually make a game, and the theme for this week's Game Jam is changing mood. You guys have all heard of Ori and the Blind Forest. Well, that's one of my favorite games, and the best thing about that game is the emotional side to it. They decide to do this Disney thing where they make you really happy and then make you really sad, and it's an awesome way to shift mood. Changing mood is really encouraged in the game dev community to tell stories and stuff like that the same way movies do, the same way books do, is to create certain settings and then destroying those settings by changing it into something else. For example, you can go happy to sad, you can go sad to happy, all that type of stuff is wonderful and definitely encouraged. The ability to do this is actually really impressive and really incredible, and if you guys manage to do this within a game within a week, it's going to be the most fantastic thing that has ever happened in these Game Jams. The way I see it, the writers are creating the scenario and the story. Artists, both 3D, 2D, all of you guys are creating some sort of visual representation of it. Musicians and voice actors getting that audible stimulation depending on how you want to do it. And of course, programmers and designers bringing the whole thing to life and making it into a very awesome game. So it's a little something for everyone. You are definitely encouraged to join a team, and if you are struggling to find a team, you can find people on Discord. If you want more of the rules and stuff like that, you can take a look at the link in the description to go and join the Game Jam. Basically, the team sizes are unlimited, and of course there are no third-party assets because we want to take advantage of the amazing talent that we have on our Discord server. So go guys, go have a fun Game Jam. It's going to last a week. So I'll see all of you guys next week. Hopefully you guys have a lot of fun with this one. That was pretty intense for a Game Jam about altering mood. Did I alter your mood? Did I get your heart racing? Probably not. It's okay though. Now I can chill and talk about my MMO project, although a lot of you guys may have actually left from now. But if you want to see snippets of that, I'm going to show you right now. See a few things on the screen that you like, or maybe you just want to contribute. Basically, the entire gist of it is taking games like RuneScape, Town of Salem, putting them together, a bit of Breath of the Wild in there. I tried to get the look of Breath of the Wild, but of course a lot of the models that you see inside the game right now are placeholders. I may keep the grass and stuff like that, and the mechanics of everything is going to remain pretty similar. The object of the game was actually to take the buy and sell method that people have been doing a lot of. I mean, the cryptocurrency thing. I went on Bitcoin and I actually really enjoy trading it. I'm not trying to make money or anything. It's actually really fun just watching things rise and decrease in value. And I thought, well, why not make this into a game so people aren't risking a lot of their money on this cryptocurrency? I mean, I enjoy the whole trading aspect, but I'm not going to get much out of it, so I'm probably not the best person to say, whoa, Bitcoin, yay. So because I enjoyed that, and because I enjoy social games such as Town of Salem, and because I really like RuneScape, or I used to play it a lot when I was younger, then I decided to, hey, wait, we can mix all of this stuff together and actually make something really cool. The one thing I must say about all of them is that I do not want any combat within a game, which is really risky because I think 90-something% of all the GDC game trailers were actually all combat based, and that's a massive number, and I really I'm just amazed by it. Because I used to play stuff like SimCity, all that type of building games, tycoon games like Zoo Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and they all kind of left something in my heart. Maybe I just like building games and I really want to make something something that I would play. So I came up with the game theme. Basically, you're just supposed to buy, sell, trade, collect, harvest resources, and then of course set up a bit of a business inside the game, which is where the social aspect actually comes in. All these items can be built into other items. You're basically making components of bigger items. People can buy these bigger items from big dealers who, instead of making all the parts themselves, actually go and buy it off other people, or maybe they have deals within the game. It's going to be very interesting. Watching stuff like Shark Tank and investments and all these type of things can happen within the game, and it's actually it's a really cool system. I mean, it sounds really scary, but I need to try and make it very, very user friendly so that people aren't a bit spooked by the whole business model of the game, not the game itself, but in-game. I kind of wanted to keep the skills away from the game, so your social skills are equally as important as your in-game skills. You can do well with both, but you know, having both of them is actually a lot better than having just one. So far, I've worked on quite a few cool things. One of them is the database system, which is basically an online table of entries where you can access every now and again. You can create accounts, you can put account login information onto it, like username, password, email verification codes, whether or not you're a member, all these type of information. And I've also used it towards the inventory system and of course the skills system, or the XP system. Since the inventory, the skills, and also the chat system are the most important things within the game, they're all stuff that I've actually made, so they're already included inside the game. I just need to work on a few other things, such as how are we going to trade items, how are we going to set up these shop systems, how we're going to do all of that. I mean, the game can be made to look beautiful after all the gameplay is actually in there. So yeah, it's working out really well. I started off very hard and made a lot into it, and of course had one friend helping me, and I really like working with somebody else sometimes. It just encourages you to continue doing what you're doing. But an MMORPG is no picnic. I have been told by many people that the servers will crash in the first day, even if you only have 100 people playing in the first day, which is a bit ambitious, but I want to keep the numbers quite low just to test out stuff. So if you want to actually beta test it, then you can go to the Patreon, because I'm going to help those guys out first, because there's not that many people on there and I cannot support so many people. So if you want to be a part of that, go support me on Patreon. Of course, it also supports the show. If you like these types of videos, if you like the game jams, if you like seeing these games, if you like me talking about all the stuff in games, it's a great place to go and see that. Finally, we have an awesome mod on our Discord server. His name is Nagilliant, or Nagi, some people call him, and of course he is making a game himself called King's Vessel. It's a MOBA, it's a very big project, kind of inspired by him, the fact that I want to make these big projects, because what he's doing is really cool. So cool, in fact, that before the game's even out, he's actually got these merch stores out and stuff to try and support the development of the game, because he still needs a bit of funding to get it pushed through, which is really awesome for him. And this is one of his shirts. The logo is actually really cool. I really like it. And he also sent me another one with one of the characters on, I believe, or minions, or one of the bosses you need to defeat. I had the privilege of playing a pre-viz kind of version, or a proof of concept version that they had, which was really awesome, and I do appreciate the fact that this guy is going out of his way to try and get this MOBA done. I mean, a MOBA is a big project, which is kind of why I went with an MMO. I thought, hey, I could make it. It may take a long time. Anyway, if you want to grab yourself a t-shirt, help support his game and all that type of stuff, the link for that shall be in the description below. Other than that, there is also a Patreon account for him. That should also be in the description below. And there's also a Discord channel for him. That should be down below. And hopefully I'm helping him out a bit. I really want this game to go through, because I'm really looking forward to it. Finally, last thing we're going to talk about is Fortnite Battle Royale taking, my goodness, over Battlegrounds. I called this a long time ago in a video. I made a video saying that there will be a game coming out that's going to beat Battlegrounds. And of course, game Fortnite came out, and I was like, yes, I was right about one thing. But now I'm right about two things. It's beating Battle Royale. If you guys want my opinion about Fortnite Battle Royale, then it's going to get a little bit salty. Not really. It's actually, I like the game. PUBG was awesome, but they haven't fixed it. They had all the time in the world. They had more time to fix it than Epic Games did with Fortnite, and they still didn't manage to beat them. It's amazing. We clearly know who uses the engine better. People who didn't create the engine, or people who made the engine, and it's pretty clear. But yeah, the PlayerUnknown guy actually goes up there and he says, well, you can't blame us entirely. You know, it's really hard for us developers to actually make stuff like this. Proven not true. It's like the whole thing that I didn't like about Skyraw on a very small scale. I actually got loads and loads of comments actually saying, hey, we want another map. And I was like, okay, do you really want another map? I mean, you can say, yeah, we want another map, but the best thing about it would be to improve gameplay. Take out all the kinks, make all these bug fixes and stuff like that, but instead of making another map, I just dropped the game entirely. Which, I mean, Battlegrounds beats me in that. See, here's the thing, I thought Battlegrounds' first map was perfect. They didn't need to add a new one, they didn't need to change it. It's similar to League of Legends. Why haven't they added a new main map, you know? Or why haven't they put it into circulation? They have heaps of maps, but none of them do as well as Summoner's Rift. It's very important to take a very basic concept and build upon it. Making a very complicated concept that doesn't build upon some form of foundation actually doesn't work. Mario is a great example of this. Apparently when making it, Nintendo's thinking that the jumping ability, for example, should be what everything is based around. Clearly in the game you can have jumping, you can have shooting, but that creates some sort of complicatedness. You have two functions now, which is not that complicated. It's pretty easy for people to understand. But what if you could compress those two functions into one function that the entire game is built around? So instead of having a shooting mechanic, instead of having a sword mechanic or anything like that, he just jumps. That's what he does. The platformer jumping is very important. You jump onto platforms. You can also jump on top of enemies, even at the very end of every stage. In order to complete it, you have to jump to actually collect the flag. It's an amazing thing that Nintendo has, but I think we can all agree that building upon foundations is actually one of the most important things in game development, and hopefully we will take that to heart and use that for our next game or our next project or even our current and existing project. Maybe you need to trim the edges a little bit in order to get it to work really well. Kind of explains why this game's taking me such a long time. I have this core idea, but I'm not trying to extrude it past what is necessary. I'm actually trying to compress it down to its core essentials, make that, and then of course build upon the essentials. So you got paperwork everywhere. Here on the computer there's drawings, there's doodles all around my room just to get a very simple thing working. Anyway, that's all the time we have for this week. See you guys next week where we talk about something different. Obviously you guys can keep up to date with this, and of course the Game Jam will end next week and I'm going to show off some submissions. So I'll see you all then guys, have a fabulous day.